Before I get started, I just want to say the movie, Almost Christmas, 4 stars. For worth money. I enjoyed that film, good Christmas film, a little behind the numbers, but it was still enjoyable and funny. Go see that movie. Alright, let's get on with this review. Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them is a prequel or spin-off of the Harry Potter franchise that takes place 70 years before the events of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. It is not necessarily based on pre-existing source material in the Harry Potter universe. It's actually an original script from author J.K. Rowling, and is also based on of a textbook of the author, Newt Scamander, which is in the Harry Potter universe, which was Harry's first textbook. But in this film, we follow Newt Scamander, who carries a briefcase full of monsters, and then he stumbles upon a no-mage, which is no magic folk for short, which is what they call muggles in the American wizarding world. But he stumbles upon a no-mage and switches cases with him, and now the no-mage has that briefcase full of monsters and they accidentally get out, so now him and a couple other characters that he meets along the way have to go retrieve these monsters and put them back in the case, and along the way they stumble across this other side story, which involves Colin Farrell's character, Percival Graves. And now we have our movie. Now, I will say I am a fan of the Harry Potter films and the books. Like, I read the books up until I think like the 4th or 5th book. I do own all the books, but I never got a chance to read all of them. And I do have the latest book, Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. I'm currently in the process of reading that book. But I am a fan of the Harry Potter universe, though. It's probably my second favorite fantasy franchise behind Star Wars. In that, I will say with Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, I was sort of looking forward to it, but I wasn't, because it's a story that doesn't feature any characters from the Harry Potter movies. So it's like, we following this new characters, like, just because you said in the Harry Potter universe doesn't mean I'm necessarily going to be interested in. But I kept it open-minded, and I gave the movie a chance, and I'd say it was a pretty enjoyable film. The movie still has problems, in my opinion, but so let's talk about some of those positives. First off, Eddie Redmayne as Newt Scamander. He works in this film and he plays Newt Scamander. He's just this little eccentric dude that's just into monsters and magic, but mostly monsters, and he shows that he really cares about the monsters that he collects and that he's really trying to preserve them and make sure they're safe. His no-match friend, he is pretty much us, the audience. He's pretty much along for the ride with Newt, and as he discovers this new world. They also meet Tina. She's also a great player in this film, and she comes along with the ride with Newt and Kowalski. Colin Farrell was great in this film, and his little agenda that was in this film, it was pretty interesting. And it also has some fan service that I found pretty entertaining and interesting in that. And with that, I can't wait to see how they utilize that in future films. I'm not going to spoil it, but I just can't wait to see it. Now, I ain't going to lie, the world building in this film is also pretty interesting because we see the American wizarding world, which we haven't really seen in the Harry Potter films. So I think it was kind of cool that they showcased that in this film. And the monsters in this movie are pretty good too. I mean, the movie is called Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, so they spend the majority of the movie just looking for these beasts. And I think that's ultimately kind of a negative, which is a segue into my negatives. So pretty much the majority of the movie, Newt and friends, they go around the city trying to find all the monsters. So essentially, I didn't really think about this until I listened to Dumbatos's review of this movie. And ultimately, this movie is pretty much Pokemon. They go around trying to capture monsters, Pokemonsters. And so, yeah, pretty much, I guess, J.K. Rowling, she discovered Pokemon or Pokemon Go or whatever. She's like, this is pretty good. I want to make a story around it. I'm sure that's not what happened, but I couldn't help but think, yeah, that's pretty much what it is. And they just taped on a story that will tie into the Harry Potter movies onto this story. My biggest gripe about this movie is that the pacing is all over the place in this movie. Like, there is more than enough times in this movie where I started to fall asleep or nod off, and like I remember I had to get up twice just to go to the bathroom. I do not do that, but I had to get up just so I could wake myself up a little bit. Now, one of the strengths of this movie is that it doesn't rely on Easter eggs and references to the other movies, which is fine. And I'm glad they don't do that, but at the same time, it's like you still gotta have some Easter eggs, or at least enough of them to justify, hey, like, this still ties into the Harry Potter movies, and just don't forget about it. Like, I'm all for a movie standing on its own, and that is what this movie does, but at the same time, it's like, this is still a Harry Potter film, right? But the other negative I have upon this film is that I feel like this movie is pretty much like, I don't know, like it kind of feels like a setup movie, or it tries to be a setup movie, but pretty much I feel like this movie is trying to false the line between trying to set up for future films that they forgot to focus on the movie that's in front of them, or it's something that this movie can't escape, and it's the fact that it is set in the Harry Potter universe. So they hoping that you've seen all of them so that they don't have to make any references or try not to set up like, I don't know, I'm kind of conflicted right there. But look, in the end, I really did enjoy this film, and I'll certainly buy it on Blu-ray just to add to my Harry Potter collection. But for what I saw in the film, and especially how they kind of ties into the Harry Potter movies, I am curious to see how they're gonna pretty much expand these movies, because they say they're doing 5 movies. So again, I guess I'm curious to see what else they do with this universe. But as a fan of Harry Potter, I can't help to wonder if this movie was either made just to make money, or for the studio to try to make some more money off the Harry Potter universe, or this is a legitimate story that tries to expand the universe. In that, I guess I will just say I will give Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them 3 stars for room for improvement. Thank you so much for listening, and if you like this video, go ahead and hit the thumbs up button, and if you want to see more, go ahead and check out my channel. The link is in the description below. And be sure to check me out on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, and Periscope. Peace.